Hello, pretty people. Welcome back to Simply Delish Duo. You guys, in our kitchen today, we're going to show you another treat, another goodie. We're going to show you how to make homemade cheese buns or homemade cheese swirls in this case. Now, really, who doesn't love that fresh homemade bread right out of the oven? And add some cheese, you guys, to it, and it just brings it up a notch. So darn delicious. So if you're new to our channel, check out our other videos and don't forget to subscribe. All right, first things first, what we need to do is get the yeast going. So we have here 1.25 cups of water, and your water needs to be warm. I always like to, my hands are clean, I always like to touch my water just to make sure that it's nice and warm. You don't want to use hot water, it will kill your yeast. And cold water, your yeast won't activate. So make sure it is warm water, nice and warm. To that, we are going to add 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast.
I'm just gonna grab a spoon to mix that yeast.
Oh, of course. 1 teaspoon and 2. And 1 teaspoon. Let's go a teaspoon and a little bit of sugar. Now, that is necessary in order to get your yeast to activate. Sugar is necessary. If you don't want to use sugar, go ahead and use honey, even brown sugar. Okay, give it a nice stir.
We'll put this aside.
And now what we need to do is put your yeast aside for about 5 minutes, and you'll notice that it'll start bubbling. It'll get nice and bubbly. So put this aside for about 5 minutes. And now, for your dough, we are using about 3 cups. In this bowl here, we have 2.5 cups of all-purpose white flour. And we've reserved 1/2 cup because sometimes it will take more. And 1 teaspoon, is that a teaspoon yet? 1 teaspoon of salt. And now we are going to give this a nice stir.
I'm just gonna move everything out of the way just so we have more room to work with here.
So now we have to wait for our yeast to proof here, to activate. So we will be back. Now, I don't know if you can see this. Our yeast is nice and bubbly. So it was about 5 to 7 minutes. Can you hold it up closer? 5 to 7 minutes. Is this weird, BB? I love the smell of yeast.
You know what? I do too. It's not weird. I do too.
So now what we're gonna do, and I'm going to pour it right in the bowl with your flour, and
I'll move that out of the way too.
And we will need about 1 teaspoon of olive oil. So, you know, I'm not going to use a measuring spoon for that because we've made this so many times here, bread. And now, with a spatula or a spoon, I like to start off with a spatula or a spoon, start mixing. Now, if you have a stand mixer, go ahead, use your stand mixer. Just make sure you have the dough hook. But because we're making, it's a pretty small batch here, I'm just going to knead it by hand. Plus, I like kneading dough.
Yeah, working at it.
And you know what? We are going to do this all in a bowl. If you want to dump it out on your counter, go ahead. But like I said, it's a pretty small batch here. So I'm going to knead it with my hands. So it looks like it's about ready. Baby, can I give you this as well?
Of course, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Do you want to just put it in the yeast?
Oh, there.
And now, give it a few tosses here.
Until it kind of comes together and then you start kneading.
So now, what we do, we use, press it down with the palm of your hand and just keep turning the bowl around. I don't know if you can see. So we continue doing this for a good couple minutes here. So we will continue kneading. All right, it looks like we're about done here. Now you want to knead it until it's nice and smooth. And if you touch it, poke it, it'll bounce back. So that's exactly what you want to do, is just poke it and then it'll bounce back. And you'll notice
So the 2.5 cups of flour was perfect. We actually didn't need any more of the reserved flour. So 2.5 for this batch was perfect here. Now, we want to oil our bowl here and our bread. So if you want to put some on the bottom.
A little drizzle.
And then what I do is I actually use the dough and just make sure to oil all sides of the bowl, the top and the bottom. Make sure it's nicely oiled. And this is nice to do because then it'll come out easier. Otherwise, it'll stick to your bowl and it'll be harder to come out. Now, next step, Bibi, do you want to take over?
So we're gonna actually cover it with a bit of saran wrap.
I'm gonna cut you off, Bee. I've noticed here it says March 22nd,
I date
2020.
Oh, you guys, I date them all the time because I like to see how long these last. I get these at Costco. When they're on sale, I buy actually a few of them. And I actually write the date on them when we start. And it's been over 2 years, 2 years and about 3-4 months. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
And we use saran wrap every day.
Yes. So. And it's heavy. Whoops, you still have quite a bit in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, with the dough, just add some saran wrap on the top. Make sure it's nicely sealed. And you know what we like to do? We like to cover it in a tablecloth or a tea towel, you guys, because it keeps the heat in there. And not only that, we're gonna actually put it in the warmest room in the house. We're gonna place it there, a nice cozy room, so your yeast will rise nice, or your dough will rise nicely. So just
and it's faster. If you find a warmer place, it's quicker.
Yeah. So I am going to put this in my cozy room.
So it's been a good hour.
Let me move that over there.
And let's see how our dough looks. Look at it has risen. It's pretty much doubled in size, and this is exactly what you want. So now.
And you want it nice and I was going to poke at it to show you.
Nice and airy.
Yes.
So now next thing is you need a rolling pin and you want to spread it out into a rectangle. Not a triangle, a rectangle.
I'll hold on to
Yeah.
this.
Can you hold on to it? Thank you. So don't do a square. Like we said, we want a nice rectangle, about 1/4 of an inch, half an inch thick in size. And don't worry if it is not perfect because we also cheat. And I'll show you what I mean by cheating. What we do is we kind of
form it into a rectangle.
Form it into a rectangle. Oh, it's sticking on that side because it's got that edge. Form it into a rectangle and then roll it out again. Roll it out one more time. All right. And again, like we said, I don't really like that one there. Like we said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So next thing, we need cheese. Bibi, if you can grab the cheese. So
it's a warm day in here, so we had it in the fridge.
All right. And with the cheese, you can use whatever type of cheese you want. Always go with a shredded cheese. Only because we are going to roll these up because we call them cheese buns, but they're really cheese swirl buns. And they're easier to cut. And I'll show you what we mean by cut. And in here we've got about 2 cups of shredded cheese. And today we're using a sharp cheddar. Here in Canada, they call it old cheddar. I think because it's aged longer than regular cheddar.
I'm going to spread it in the meantime. You can also add Parmesan cheese on here, or if you like to spice it up, I like the jalapeno cheddar.
Oh, jalapeno cheddar is good.
Any kind of cheese, really.
And like I said, we are using 2 cups. The other day, I didn't use quite 2 cups. I made a batch the other day, and they weren't as cheesy. So preference, if you like more cheese, add more, but 2 cups should be plenty. All right. And now just make sure it's evenly spread, every nook and cranny. And it's okay if you don't get the edges, that's fine. Now, this is like we're making cinnamon buns. You're gonna roll them up
I'd help you roll, but the two hands in there will not work well.
Nope.
Just like when we were young and you're fighting over the shopping cart and we're both pushing that
Yeah,
shopping cart.
yeah. Doesn't, and then we're fighting.
Yes, of course. And then you got sent to the car back in the day.
And as sisters, we did fight a lot. We
Yeah,
still
we still kind of do once in a while.
argue, not fight, argue. All right. And try, if I didn't say so, try to get it as tight as you can, if you can. And now we are going to move it into the center here.
You have a nice roll.
You have a nice roll and kind of pat in the ends here. So now, in the meantime, BB's getting a baking sheet.
Yeah, just with a bit of parchment paper here. So.
Now we're ready to cut. I cut, you place. How's that?
Yes, perfect.
So the trick is to get even size cinnamon rolls here, cinnamon buns. Cut this long log here or roll right directly in the middle. Then do the same right in the middle and in the middle. Like I said, you'll get more even buns here. So now again in the middle. Now your dough is going to rise again. We need to do a second rise. So you can keep them this size if you like large cinnamon buns. I prefer smaller ones. So now I'm going to cut them again in half. But again, preference. If you want larger rolls, go ahead and keep them the size you want.
And I am going to start placing. Now, you want to place them about 1 inch apart because, like Chica said, they get a second rise. They're gonna be, they might touch a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah, you want the, I personally like when they kind of grow and
touch a little bit.
Touch.
Okay, let me quickly place these.
And we got 16 buns out of this batch.
These ones freeze well too, you guys.
They do freeze well. You can actually freeze them just raw like this, uncooked, and then place them in the freezer. Take them out, but make sure they defrost and rise again. This one, you know what? That's a poor little ugly one. Oh, I didn't do that.
But that's okay. These two are the ends.
They are the ends.
They are the butts, so.
And
okay, they're still edible.
And you don't have to be perfect here.
No.
I'm just going to place them a little closer to one another, just because, like I said, I like them touching as they grow. So what we'll do is, once again, they will need to be covered up. And yeah, this time it won't take nearly an hour, maybe half an hour, again, in a warm place.
In that warm, cozy room of mine.
All right.
Our buns have had that second rise. We've removed that saran wrap, that plastic on top. Now you'll notice that they've doubled in size, so they're touching each other. Don't they look amazing? Delicious, you guys. Now, you have an option also. Sometimes we'll sprinkle some Parmesan cheese. I actually like a little bit of oregano sprinkled on there, so it's just an option that you could add to your cheese buns.
Or even extra cheddar cheese.
Yeah, anything. So our oven's preheated at 350 degrees. We're gonna pop them in the oven for about 20 minutes until they reach that nice golden color. So it depends on your oven also, right? So keep an eye on them and on your middle rack in the oven.
All right, let me go put them in the oven.
Not ready yet, just about.
Okay, we apologize. We've noticed, or I've noticed, I said cinnamon buns quite a few times in the last video clip. We are not making cinnamon buns, people. We are making cheese buns or cheese swirls. What possessed me to say cinnamon buns, baby?
I don't know. We had a little bloopers there in our video. I didn't even catch it, and you're the one that was talking.
Oh, well, anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so we had them in the oven for about 20 minutes. And now they're sitting for a couple minutes so I can touch them. I wanted to show you the bottom. So you guys, look at how delicious the ooey gooey crust, the crispy cheese underneath. Oh, that's a little bit hot still.
It smells like a bakery in here. It smells so good. And the best thing about these is inexpensive. You go to a bakery here, A cheese bun at a bakery
One.
costs close to, like, probably $2, $1.89.
Oh, it's great. I know they're a little bit bigger, of
Yeah.
course, than what we made. But you guys, this actually cost us next to nothing.
It's the cheese. It was really the cheese, and that's it.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so if you're making bread that day, make some cheese buns. Your family's gonna love it.
Like, you'll notice, we thought, well, since we're making buns, let's make a focaccia. We're at it anyway, so.
Exactly. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off here, but we made the focaccia. We will upload this video soon also.
Yeah.
So this way you'll know how to make focaccia bread also. So we hope you guys like the simple recipe. We hope you love the cheese buns. Try them out. And thank you for watching Simply Delish Duo.